Hi folks, I'm Joe from Premier One Supplies, and today we're going to be installing electric netting in our pasture. So let's see what we need to get started. We're going to be installing Premier's ElectroNet 93512. This is an 82-foot roll with normal spacing between the posts, so that's going to be in the 10 to 12-foot range. This is a shredded versus a string net, but the process is the same for both types of net. So I have this roll, and I'm going to use my 35-inch fiber tough post for support at curves and corners and ends. I have a PRS 100 solar fence energizer, and since this is a 1 joule unit, I will be using a 3-foot ground rod for my grounding. Now it's time to put in the net. Before we install our netting, we need to make sure that the site is prepared. If I was going to put my netting up in this full growth area behind me, I would either need to mow a small section or drive a truck or ATV around where I'm going to have my netting to trample down the grass. Grass contact on the lower strands of the fence will deplete the charge of the fence. But today I'm going to be setting my fence in this mowed portion here. The grass is already short enough to not contact my fence. So now I'm ready to put in my net. If you're using a new roll of netting, unclip the metal clips at the top of the fence and untie the ties. Find your post and start unrolling the mesh. Take your end post, which is the post with the strings, and insert it where you would like to start your fence. For added support at your end post, insert a fiber tough post alongside of it. Then, using the supplied strings, tie the post to the fiber tough. Now we're ready to set up our line post. Once I've set and anchored my end post, it's now time to set out my line post. What I'm going to do is set these on the ground and then come back and put them in place. When you're ready to insert your line post, pick it up off of the ground and bring the spike over a little bit with your foot. This will add extra tension to your fence. So that helps prevent sagging and keeps the fence nice and straight. Walk to the next post and do the same. Keep an eye on where you're coming from and where you're going. That way you follow the contour of the land or help keep a straight fence when you're installing it. Now that I've set up my first net, I'm ready to set up a second piece. To connect those two nets, take the string at the end post and use it to tie the two nets together. And to connect them electrically, take the metal clips and slide them into one another. Now that I've come around my paddock with netting, I'm ready to end it. I'm going to undo my terminal post here. That way I can tie both nets together. Since I'm setting my Energizer at this point, I don't have to connect these two nets. Netting does not have to connect back to itself. because I'm connected electrically throughout the rest of my paddock. So I'll just clip the connections back to itself, back to the nets. That way they're not dangling later. I'm now ready to install my Energizer. To install your Energizer, connect the Energizer's ground clip to the ground rod. Connect the fence lead, which is usually either orange or red, to your fence. Turn on your Energizer. And to make sure that your fence is actually energized, take a fence tester, and if it has a ground probe, insert the ground probe and connect it to the end of your fence. And now I know I have at least 3,000 volts on my net. And that's how you install a roll of electric netting.